Brothers, sisters, and others of all colors, welcome back to another YouTube video. This time, I wanted to tell you guys about something. Something that I was thinking about last night. It's that each of our stories, each of our... Just got a Discord notification. Kind of distracted, but anyways. Each of our stories are all connected to a larger whole. And our existence in that larger whole is, or our contributions are entirely of our own creation. But the larger whole, the actual quality of that picture is not affected by the actual quality of the picture, like the big picture, is not affected by it's not affected by the smaller pictures, because the larger picture is going to be beautiful either way. Really, it's about, so when you're painting your part of the giant mural that is reality, it's important to be free, to feel alive, and to not feel pressured to make some masterpiece on that mural. Even if you want to make a masterpiece, don't feel pressured to do so. Because at the end of the day, everything's going to be just fine, regardless of how you choose to express yourself on this giant canvas we call life. And this giant canvas called the universe and its history. The ideal state to exist in, to create your masterpiece, is one of peace. That's why they call it a masterpiece, because you've mastered peace. But anyways, that's just a little something for you. I channeled something else, but I forgot. But yeah, like, the idea is that even if we're all evil, even if the story of humanity is one of collapse and destruction, and we all just die in a horrible and stupid way, due to our own, maybe, selfishness or whatever, of course all of these things are entirely subjective. And that's another thing. Our subjectivity is equally a part of the bigger picture as, like, having this quote-unquote optimal perspective. The optimal perspective is to recognize your subjectivity as a part of the bigger picture. Is to recognize that your thoughts, however big or however small, are a part of the bigger picture. It's like, and that's okay. But it can be terrifying to meet the conclusion that maybe your story won't be as awesome, because, like, fundamentally the one person who feels the most pressured, the one person who feels the most pressured about what they're creating is the artist themselves. You've heard of that, the artist who's too hard on themselves and beats themselves up over every mistake, but really all they're making is awesome. What they're making is awesome to the crowd. God likes your painting. They do. I can assure you of that. But, you know, we are our harshest critics. Any artist is their harshest critic. And that's sort of one thing that you have to put up with as a painter on the tapestry of life and the history of the universe. Your masterpiece is going to look different from the archetypal image of a masterpiece. What your masterpiece is will be a unique expression of your own life, of who you are. what will look best for you might not look like what society expects from you. It might, or it might not. It might not look like what society thinks is ideal. It might not look like that. It might have some elements of that. You might have had 25 relationships, but hey, eventually, but you did hold a stable job. You did go on a grand adventure in your life. In the bedroom, too. So, so you can have some components of a societally ideal life. And that can be kind of terrifying because the actual spirit of society is a very anxious one. Um, it's kind of anxious and controlling almost, like the actual spirit of society. That's how I see it, at least. It's like, at least in our current stage of evolution, it's kind of anxious, like a little controlling. It's like it's trying to like micromanage people. You know what I mean? But the only way to like make that spirit calm down is to show that everything is okay, even if things don't go exactly the way it wants. We're all a part of that. You know what I'm saying? We're all a part of that image, and we gotta do our part in. Well, we don't have to, of course, but I think it would be best for us as a collective if we took our place in society or if we transmuted the anxiety of society to something much more to calm its nerves so that we can all express ourselves, and whatever comes from society can just be what it is. Whatever society becomes, it can just be without having to and feel like everything's okay. So anyways, thinking. Yeah, we're all a part of this big ass fucking collage. And, your likes, your dislikes, at whatever point in time, maybe you liked SpongeBob in elementary school, you hated him in middle school, and now you like him in high school. That's a part of the collage. Your thoughts on politics over the years, or your daily routine over the course of 25 fucking years, Your visions for the future, your visions for the future tomorrow, how consistent those visions are, whether or not you fulfill them, whether or not you go on a totally different route that's way better than what you thought. All of this stuff is a part of that bigger picture. And the best part is that you decide what that bigger picture actually is, or what that means to you. And there's one thing I want to address. It's that we all do kind of exist in our own bubble. It's like we're the main characters of our own life story, and we're the writers of our own life story. And this is like kind of important to recognize, because this idea of like the main character, people who think they're the main character, the issue is that in my mind, when I look at that, I'm like, the issue is that this person thinks they're the main character in everyone's life, or that their story is the only story being told. The reality is, and this is a little bit 4D, might not be spiritually up to snuff, but that your story exists among a variety of other stories. But that doesn't make it any less your story, and that doesn't mean that just because there's all these other stories, it doesn't mean that your story is insignificant. It doesn't mean that, you know, you have to throw your shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, recognizing that other people exist in the world doesn't have to mean that, and have their own stories from the point of view that they're the main character, doesn't have to mean that, like, you're not the main character. It just has to mean that you got to look at other people's lives as though they're the main character too, as though they're the main character in their own stories, and you have to give in to a deeper sense of empathy for other people. Anyways, that's all I have for today. I'll see you guys next time.